Welcome to County Report This Week. I'm Sonia Burke. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the next half hour, President Obama awards the Medal of Honor to a former Walter Johnson High School graduate. For the 7th year in a row, a Montgomery College professor is named Maryland Professor of the Year. And Gaithersburg hosts a social powwow in celebration of Native American Heritage Month. But we begin with the Montgomery County Council. Council President George Leventhal's term as president is winding down, but county business continues to move ahead at a fast clip. Susan Kennedy reports.
The session included action on a number of bills that have been under consideration by the council over the past several weeks. One measure approved would require home sellers to test their homes for radon and provide those results to prospective home buyers.
It's just about making sure that the information is there. We never wanted to impede on the sale of the property. We never wanted to make it too expensive and make it a hindrance. What we wanted to do is just make sure that people had information. And my hope is that other jurisdictions will follow our lead, as we've done in a number of other instances where Montgomery County has been at the forefront of folks making sure that they have the right information to make the right decisions.
Another measure that received the go-ahead from the council would increase the fine for selling tobacco products to a minor to $1,000 for a first offense and $1,000 for any subsequent offenses. Councilmember Rice led the charge on this front, and all 8 of his colleagues signed on as co-sponsors.
These tobacco products, again, while we're seeing the infusion of e-cigarettes and others, the reality is that folks are still smoking. And unfortunately, some of our minors are still smoking as well. And they're being sold these products by vendors who just really aren't adhering to the law. And so we wanted to make sure that the penalty reflects the seriousness of what they're doing.
Also on the agenda, a discussion on factors that are driving the costs of government. Council President George Leventhal scheduled the review as a precursor of a possible tax increase next fiscal year.
I feel that before we contemplate increasing property taxes above the charter limit, council members should really come to grips with those factors that make county government as expensive as it is. Some of them are factors within our control. Some of them are factors that are out of our control, such as rising enrollment in the schools, certain mandates that the state has placed upon us, like maintenance of effort and the pension shift, and the recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court in the Wynn versus Comptroller case. In either event, whether we agree to a large property tax increase or whether we don't, we will need to understand what are the circumstances that lead us there, and we will need to explain it to our constituents.
The council will recess next week for the Thanksgiving holiday and will return to regular business December 1st with the election of new officers. In Rockville, I'm Susan Kennedy for County Report This Week.
After months of ad hoc committee meetings and plans for reform, the future of the Department of Liquor Control continues to be a hot topic among local leaders in Montgomery County. When it comes to the Montgomery County Department of Liquor Control, almost everyone agrees that the department can do better.
I don't think the Department of Liquor Control has kept up with the times. I don't think it's had strict enough management or good enough customer service.
But now, 2 state officials are talking about legislation that could end what they describe as Montgomery County's liquor monopoly.
I'm suggesting that we let in the private sector to compete with the county monopoly. In other words, break the monopoly, let the county operate its system, and let the private sector compete.
After years of looking at this issue, several colleagues and I have put forward a bill that would call for a referendum, and the referendum would ask voters whether they want to continue our monopoly, where the county has a monopolistic control over the wholesale distribution of beer, wine, and spirits, or whether they want to introduce competition and let the private distributors come in and compete with the county and let private retailers sell spirits as well as beer and wine.
Councilmember Berliner is the only council member supporting that bill.
Let the voters decide this as to whether or not this continues to be a core government responsibility or something in which the private sector should be allowed to compete and therefore bring out the best in everyone.
The other 8 county council members have sent a letter to the county state delegation expressing concern about potential liquor control changes and the impact on the county's coffers.
The revenue that comes to us has been an integral part of our budget for decades.
In their letter, council members write they were already working on reform, and they say rather than fully privatize the DLC, whether through legislation or a ballot initiative, we respectfully ask that you support our careful and reasoned approach. So what's next? The issue of liquor control is expected to be a hot topic at the county delegation's November 30th local bills hearing. Council President George Leventhal is just back from a trip to El Salvador, where he led a county delegation to the Central American country. Lorna Virgili has more about the importance of this trip.
Council President George Leventhal describes the 4-day trip as very successful. He led an official county delegation to El Salvador. The idea was to follow up on the existing sister city agreement.
Migration is an issue. Migration is an issue for the countries that people leave, and it's an issue for communities that receive the migrants. But the way to address migration is not to build ever higher walls between ourselves and our allies and trading partners in Latin America. We should do what we can as a nation and as a community to help stabilize conditions, to make it safe and healthy as best in whatever little way we can. And so this entirely voluntary, paid for out of the generosity of individual residents, there's no taxpayer dollars going into this effort. I feel that this trip we made a contribution, we made a difference.
In 2011, Executive Ike Leggett signed the Sister City Agreement with the Department of Morazan. This is the poorest Salvadoran state. During the recent trip, the delegation met with Vice President Oscar Ortiz.
Vice President Ortiz indicated to our delegation that the relationship with the expatriates remains very important to El Salvador, and that they hope that those who have left the country will continue to do what they can to send substantive resources back to strengthen the economy, build employment where they can. The issue of just cash remittances is actually a problem for the Salvadoran economy. And what they need is talent and capability, investment and jobs.
There is no targeted return from the Sister Cities delegation to El Salvador. But Leventhal says that in the meantime, he will continue to establish the relationship with local hospitals so the pipeline of donated medical supplies continues to flow. In Rockville, for County Report This Week, I'm Lorna Virgili.
President Barack Obama has awarded the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military award, to retired Army Captain Florent Groberg, who is a graduate of Walter Johnson High School. While on patrol in Afghanistan on August 8, 2012, Groberg rushed a suicide bomber. At a White House ceremony this month, President Obama talked about Groberg's heroism and courage.
Today, we honor Flo because his actions prevented an even greater catastrophe. You see, by pushing the bomber away from the formation, the explosion occurred farther from our forces and on the ground instead of in the open air. While Flo didn't know it at the time, that explosion also caused a second unseen bomb to detonate before it was in place. Had both bombs gone off as planned, who knows how many could have been killed. On his very worst day, he managed to summon his very best. That's the nature of courage. Not being unafraid, but confronting fear and danger and performing in a selfless fashion. He showed his guts, he showed his training, how he would put it all on the line for his teammates. That's an American we can all be grateful for. That's why we honor Captain Florent Groberg today.
Coming up on County Report This Week, the City of Rockville's mayor and newly elected council are sworn into office. And local officials say goodbye to a former Gaithersburg City Council member whose dedication and service will long be remembered. We'll have those stories and more right after this.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going. Recycle more now.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Welcome back to County Report This Week. I'm Sonia Burke. The city of Rockville recently held an inauguration ceremony for its newly elected mayor and council members. Rock 11 Now reports.
This is a new term, the 65th to be exact, a new page in the annals of Rockville, a new opportunity to put down the no and pick up the yes that this position of council member and mayor has afforded us.
For the first time in Rockville history, the mayor and council will serve a 4-year term instead of 2. The newly elected body is ready to go and get into the business of Rockville.
Rockville is in dire need of a new master plan, a good plan that envisions the future that the people who live here want for their city. We need a plan that allows managed growth, smart and safe initiatives for pedestrians and bikes, opportunities for new companies to see Rockville as the location for their business, a master plan that promotes, encourages, and protects all of our collection of diverse neighborhoods, which, after all, allow for what makes Rockville so special.
The 65th mayor also addressed how they will work together to tackle the Rockville Pike Plan.
Rockville also must get the Rockville Pike Plan right. Let's work with the jurisdictions to our north and our south and create a road that meets theirs and that doesn't put city taxpayers on the hook for rights-of-way.
To carry out the plan for the Pike and our growing community, they will need some help from other departments such as public safety, and they're definitely on board.
Well, I think we're going to continue on in the same vein that we have of looking at the future of Rockville, and I know that this mayor and council is very concerned about public safety, very concerned about our infrastructure, so I look forward to a very productive 4 years and actually to see a lot of positive change.
Rockville residents want to be a part of the governing process, and they're inspired by the newly elected mayor and council.
You know, it's instilled in me even more patriotism. I wanted to see the capstone of the process, so I came out today to see what my vote produced.
It's about all of Rockville making sure that the process is transparent and clear, and that we actively stay involved in our own government, because it's we the people, not just the mayor and the council.
And it will take teamwork to make the dream work for Rockville.
I'm looking for good and better things, and I bless them with all my heart.
For County Report This Week, I'm Colby Ford.
In Takoma Park, officials welcomed a new mayor and city council at a recent affirmation of office ceremony. Takoma Park TV talked to the newly elected leaders about the issues they plan to focus on moving forward.
We had an amazing turnout, first of all, and part of that was really having the early voting. We had early voting in Sligo Creek and at the New Hampshire Area Rec Center, and the turnout was wonderful.
First and foremost is really going to be about engaging members of our community. That starts with the youth. 16-year-olds can vote in this city. Our numbers don't reflect, although this past election we had a large number of youth voting. I think youth issues and youth empowerment and youth engagement are central to many issues, whether it be public health, public safety.
Not just being our own little enclave in Takoma Park, but interacting with Washington, D.C., Montgomery County, the state, Prince George's, in a more focused, collaborative way. So I think that's one. Public safety, I think, is really important. People all across the neighborhoods, when I was going door to door, expressed concerns about safety, and I think overall it's a safe community.
Inclusion. I mean, we always talk about that, but are we really going to invest the resources to make that happen? There are too many residents who do not feel that they are part of Takoma Park. So how do we bring these residents into the process?
One of the top priorities is really thinking about affordable housing in our community. What are our goals for the future to make sure that residents can live in our community and that we have an inclusive community?
We love this place because it's so diverse, but it has a small town charm.
I'm just looking forward to it, ready to roll up my sleeves.
A message to the residents today would be thank you. Thank you so much for coming out to vote and for the support over the last couple of months. And I'm very honored to be the next mayor of Takoma Park.
The city of Gaithersburg held a reception this month so residents and local officials could recognize the service of former Gaithersburg City Council member Kathy Dragula, whose term of office expired this fall. Gaithersburg Mayor Judd Ashman declared November 16th as Kathy Dragula Day in the city of Gaithersburg.
I thank Kathy for being such an inspiration to me and others, for being such an unfailingly informed and reasonable voice during our discussions, and for her good cheer and wisdom. Kathy has made a deep mark on our city, and to those of us who serve by her side, we are all the better for it.
And Montgomery County Council member Sidney Katz declared it Kathy Dragula Day in the district he serves, which he said is a first.
This is the first time in the history of Montgomery County where we're going to declare someone's day in the district. So this is from the Montgomery County Council designating November 16, 2015 as Kathy Dragula Day in the 3rd District and in honor and celebration of her years of public service to the city of Gaithersburg. It's signed today. It's signed by me on today. And please don't tell my colleagues. They don't know I did this. Thank you very, very much.
At this reception, District 17 State Senator Cheryl Kagan also delivered a citation to Dragula from the Maryland General Assembly. A longtime resident of Old Town, Kathy Dragula was first elected to the Gaithersburg City Council in 2007. Before that, she served for years as an active city volunteer. Lots of people are cooking at this time of year, and joining us to talk about fire safety in the kitchen is Pete Parenteau from the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Department. Pete?
Well, you know, I should say that cooking is a leading cause of fire throughout the year, and certainly this time of year with Thanksgiving and the holidays. The most important thing you can do when you're cooking is give full attention in the kitchen. Do not leave food cooking unattended. Also, create that circle of safety. A lot of us have pets and small children. Make sure that if you're in the kitchen that you're giving full attention and keep them away from any kind of heat source such as a hot stove.
Thanks, Pete, for that important information, and happy Thanksgiving. Coming up on County Report this week, a Montgomery College professor is named Maryland Professor of the Year. And some local elementary students take a field trip to Strathmore. We'll have that story and more right after this.
Yeah, salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday, let's move Monday, swap snacks Sunday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to County Report This Week. I'm Sonia Burke. For the 7th year in a row, a Montgomery College professor has been selected as the Maryland Professor of the Year, awarded by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching. MC's Fritzy Bodenheimer has our story.
I am truly blessed and honored and humbled to receive this important award.
All right, so who would like to be the brave person?
Chemistry professor Navar Tamazian was selected for the award for her innovative classroom techniques.
I tried to come up with a cool activity, practical examples of how much chemistry is important and relevant in our lives. What are some examples in which we use chemistry on a daily basis? So I tried to show them that chemistry is nothing to be afraid of.
For Tamazian, teaching is a family affair.
My mother herself, being a teacher, has inspired me. So I think she's a good role model. My great aunt was also a teacher, and she taught me to be persistent, never to give up. I get my energy from them and also from my students.
She points out which information is more pertinent to like life rather than just her class, which is super cool.
I don't think that as teachers, as professors, we are confined only within the walls of our own class. So we should extend beyond.
Professor Tamazian is a tireless advocate and mentor to women and minorities pursuing careers in science and technology. But perhaps she is even more passionate about the profession of teaching.
I try to create opportunities to the students to bring out the teacher in them. And I want them to consider the profession of teaching.
I want to be a professor in future, hopefully. And she helped me a lot. Like, she showed me how to care for each student, like to show them that like you're not different.
In fact, we have to educate, right?
Teaching is the noblest of all professions. I think it's a good achievement.
For County Report This Week from Montgomery College, I'm Fritzi Bodenheimer.
Montgomery County Public Schools second graders recently took a special field trip to the Music Center at Strathmore. The students were treated to a concert by the National Philharmonic Orchestra. MCPS TV has a story.
What does the National Philharmonic, 12,000 enthusiastic MCPS second graders, and the Music Center at Strathmore have in common? They all play integral parts in the Strathmore student concerts. Over the course of 4 days, every MCPS second grader had the opportunity to visit the magnificent 2,000-seat concert hall at Strathmore in Bethesda to experience a free performance by the world-renowned National Philharmonic, led by conductor Peter Gajewski.
Well, this partnership between Montgomery County Public Schools, the National Philharmonic, and Strathmore is really important because it makes it possible for thousands of kids to hear this music, to hear a symphony orchestra live on school time for free and learn about what's possible.
The redesigned concerts include a musical composition that explains and showcases the many instruments of the orchestra.
We've taken a very in-depth look at each of the instruments and the families that they belong to. Students had to classify the instruments by asking questions, so we're using our thinking academic skills to see how do these instruments make sound, what are they made of, and why would they belong into this group. It's so special because it allows children from all walks of life to have an experience that we don't always get. And they get to see the things that they've learned in the classroom up close and personal, and it's just really a special time for them.
During the playing of Heitor Villalobos' Little Train of the Capira, students participated in the concert by singing along to the Berry Pickers song.
We want every child visiting Strathmore today to leave exhilarated by the music that they've heard and feeling really comfortable coming to the Music Center at Strathmore.
The Strathmore student concerts not only inspire students and reinforce what they're learning in school, but are absolute crowd pleasers.
When I heard all of the instruments, it made a really fun noise. I liked all of it, but I liked when we got to stand up and sing.
Enrollment for the Affordable Care Act is now open. Adults 18 through 64 years of age must have health coverage. The qualifying uninsured may pay a tax penalty for not purchasing medical insurance. This week on the county's Spanish radio show, a health department official spoke about the need to renew policies before December 15th for those residents that are receiving financial assistance to pay for the medical insurance private policy.
If you want to renew your coverage for the 2016, you have to go online to the Maryland healthconnection.gov website to update your information. It's recommended for you to review, update your income information, etc., and then select or review what are the plans that are available. There's several plans that are new for 2016, and it's recommended for you to shop around and find out what is the best coverage for you available. If you want coverage to be effective January 1st, you need to update that information by December 15th, 2015.
The county is assisting residents to complete the online enrollment forms at 4 county locations. For those who need help, you can walk in anytime from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at either of these clinics or service centers, or they can enroll by visiting marylandhealthconnection.gov. Coming up next on County Report this week, we'll take you to a social powwow at the Boyer Park Activity Center in the city of Gaithersburg. And we'll go behind the scenes of a local light show at Seneca Creek State Park. Plus, you'll meet our pet of the week. Stay with us. County Report this week is coming right back.
Hey, mister, down here. You illegally passed the stop school bus. I'm placing you in timeout, and this timeout means big fines, plus you really could have hurt somebody. That's why school buses are being equipped with video cameras to help kids like me stay safe, so respect the bus.
Be active, Montgomery. Woo! Be active, Montgomery. Be active, Montgomery. Be active, Montgomery.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Sonia Burke. The city of Gaithersburg recently partnered with the IHSEA to host the 4th annual American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month social powwow. Take a look.
We're here today in Gaithersburg celebrating Native American Heritage Month with the IHS Indian Health Service Employee Association, who've been sponsoring this dance for the past 3 or 4 years. This is an opportunity for our Indian people in the urban area to continue their heritage and culture. It gives their children an opportunity to learn their traditional dances and traditional ways of giving and honoring and celebrating. It gives people a chance to use their native language, to meet other Native Americans in the community. It's a sharing and a caring event along with our Native American music. These are handmade drums. These songs were created by our elders. These young men around the drums have learned our songs, and without them a powwow would not exist.
Our Mayor Judd Ashman will, by the power vested in him as Mayor of Gaithersburg, hereby proclaim November 2015 as National American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month.
I'm a Northern traditional dancer. I'm from the Wolf Clan. You'll see that my outfit is adorned with a lot of beads. My wife actually made my beadwork. I designed it.
This is actually our 2nd year of coming here with me and my family. We're representations of the Coshada tribe and the Rosebud Sioux tribe of South Dakota. All of our regalias that you see are handmade by us or our families and are passed down through generations. My particular dance is the Fancy Feather. Actually really has no tradition. This dance was actually introduced in the 1940s during when powwows became like a normal deal around Buffalo Bill. He actually did his shows. He actually made a man named Gus McDonald introduce the fancy dance when it started as the traditional dance, when all the eagle bustles and the eagle feathers and everything like that. So they just added more bustles and just made it more vibrant, a little bit faster. So it was really just to draw people in. So my dance is just really fast, athletic, and just really just a free-for-all kind of dance. However the song moves you, that's how you dance.
The city of Gaithersburg's Winter Lights Festival is celebrating its 20th spectacular year. And this year, festival goers are in for some new displays, including a fantasy castle. Crews started putting up the lights back in October at Seneca Creek State Park. As you drive through the 3.5-mile festival, you'll discover lights strung high in the trees and on floating docks in the water. The festival officially opens for the season on November 27th. You can find more information about the Winter Lights Festival on the City of Gaithersburg's website. Now it's time to meet our pet of the week. Kathy Stanhope joins us from the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center with more. Kathy?
This week I'm here with Chloe. This is the sweetest dog you ever want to meet in your life. She's good with grandparents and she's good with children. She is looking for a home. Please give us a call at 240-773-5900 or visit Chloe on the web at montgomerycountymd.gov/ASD.
With that, we close this edition of County Report This Week. Remember to like us on Facebook and to join us again at this time every week for a look at what's going on inside Montgomery County. I'm Sonia Burke. Thank you for watching.